You're listening to a new podcast from the Edge Foundation. This series is designed to be heard in short bursts, over coffee or a commute. We'll bring together experts in policy, research and practice. We'll explore how education and the world of work are developing for young people and education providers. We'll be asking how that world will give young people across the UK the knowledge and skills they need to flourish in their future life and work. Welcome to Insights from the Edge.
Well, today we are talking about one of the most important policy issues of the moment. Young people not in education, employment or training. Not a big fan of the acronym, but nevertheless it is kind of an important topic in the policy space at the moment. Not least because almost 1 million young people are NEET again. Very similar to when I worked on the NEET policy team in DfE 15 years ago, but a very different makeup of young people. We're seeing lots of young people now who are not even looking for work because they have caring responsibilities, mental health challenges. But most of all, that NEET group is not homogenous, and we really need to get under the skin of who those young people are and hear their voices. So I'm really happy today to be talking to two people who are much closer to the ground, much closer to the coalface than I am, and who are going to tell us a little bit about what they're hearing from the young people they're working with and what's working to help them to get back into education, employment or training. So Hannah, huge welcome to you. Hannah is Head of Social, Educational and Health Hub at Brentford FC Community Sports Trust. It's quite a title, Hannah. Tell us a little bit about what you're seeing on the ground with the young people that you're working with.
Yeah, hi Ollie, thank you for having me. So similarly to what you've mentioned there, really, just the diversity of need. I think there isn't a homogenous group, there isn't one reason, there isn't one rationale for why young people are NEET. It's multifaceted. We recently did a programme, which was a targeted programme looking at supporting NEET young people into work, and some of the challenges and the barriers that they face are just diverse, varied, and each needs a bespoke approach and bespoke support.
Yeah, I'm hearing that and absolutely loads right around the country. And heading north to Manchester, I'd love to welcome Nicolette as well. Nicolette and I met when you were working at Rise Up, a youth employment charity. You're now looking to do something exciting and new in that space. Nicolette, tell us a little bit about you and a bit about the young people that you've been working with.
Cool. I've been working with young people for 25 years now, and to our surprise, it's not changed. They are still struggling. They're struggling to be understood. They're struggling to access information, most of all, let alone actual kind of progressive education or work opportunities. The young people that I've been working with are from the age of 16 to 30. A lot of people say that, 30, that's not young. Anyone over 18, 19 should be classed as an adult. But the struggle is real and the lack of opportunities is the same regardless of the age. And a lot of the young people that I've been working with, when we get them around the table, whether that's for a workshop or a youth advisory group, or just young people just inquiring, it is the same. They lack confidence. The school system has not necessarily equipped them to be able to navigate the opportunities and information. They have so much responsibility, and there's expectations from families for them to be working and bringing in an income, but then that affects the household benefits. Even young people, as we've recently been reading about, coming from academia pathways, leaving university after 4 years and not knowing what is out there, not knowing the next steps and still not feeling capable. So whether they're 16 to 19 and just leaving kind of education, they're still not sure about what's out there, whether they've left university, they're applying for hundreds, 200s, jobs and not getting any feedback from employers. So they don't know what they're doing wrong. They don't know the reason why. And then working with young people that have had caring responsibilities or are within the justice system, put them round the table. They all look different. They've all had different pathways, but they're all facing the same crisis. They just don't know what's next, how to access it. And basically it's dire. Mental health for our young people is increasing by the minute.
Thanks, Nicolette. You really laid out some of the kind of key issues there. So challenges with accessing information about opportunities, challenges with those numbers of opportunities themselves, and we've got a big campaign on about apprenticeships at the moment in SMEs for young people. That's just one part of that. Confidence, caring responsibilities, the benefit system. Hannah, are those the same kind of challenges you're seeing with the young people you work with in London?
Yeah, definitely. I think a big one is actual pathways into jobs and actually understanding how to get there. So I think one of the things so we've done a couple of initiatives at Brentford where we've looked at supporting young people into work and raising aspirations and all of the things that are really important to help young people navigate next steps. But the key part is actually, what is the next step beyond the workshops and the training and the conversations and the coaching? And it does need to be a job or a pathway into a job, whether that's training and apprenticeship. So I think that's one of the biggest issues as well, connecting these great initiatives and these great programs and this great support that's provided with jobs and with opportunities and with work, because we can talk about it and we can prepare them, but actually they need to do it, and we need to show this is how you get there, and we've supported you to do this.
Yeah, I think that's so true. And I hear this time and time again, like there's a lot out there, but it's just not connecting up. And that happens right at the top of the shop as well, doesn't it, with the government departments, like as you were saying with the benefit system, Nicolette, like the benefit system doesn't quite support education, doesn't quite tie up. So let's take a bit of a positive lens, because there's a lot of challenges out there, but you guys are experts at supporting these young people to kind of get back into a positive outcome. What have you seen from your work that's really worked with kind of getting young people back on track and back into education, employment or training? Hannah, do you want to share a little bit about your work?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what we do at Brentford is mentoring work and one-to-one work. And again, Nicolette kind of outlined all the various challenges, and I think it sounds like we're in really similar positions, and the trends are the same really wherever you go. But for us, it is that bespoke one-to-one support, because the challenges are so diverse. Actually, each young person needs time, they need space, they need confidence, they need a champion. So for us, it really does start with building that relationship with the young person and providing a support plan around them. So whether that's accessing another one of our programs. So we run all sorts of programs at the Trust, from things like football, as you would expect us to do as a football club, all the way through to comedy for thought classes, which are around providing skills in stand-up comedy to build confidence to help with mental health. One of the things we try to do is signpost into the programs we already have. We understand the needs of the young people. We work with services and referral agencies to really patch together a support plan for the young person. And then on top of that, we'll have things that you would expect, like workshops, careers sessions, insight days, hearing from people across the Trust about the jobs they do and trying to inspire and, I guess, show young people that there are opportunities within football and within sport without being a footballer. So we try and kind of myth bust some of that and show what the opportunities are. So kind of showcasing what good work looks like, what great roles look like, and showcase kind of good role models. But it does start with the young person, starting with a really clear sense of what do they need, what are their barriers, and then we look at, okay, well, what training and support do they therefore need?
I love that. These are some of the kind of ingredients that through the research we've seen again and again coming up. So like the bespoke one-to-one support, as you say, the mentoring, something to hook them in. It might be, football in your case, but it might be music or dance or sport or, whatever interests them. And then once you've built that confidence, kind of moving into some of the careers, some of the information. Nicolette, are those the same ingredients that you've seen working in your work?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Basically getting the young person and working with them at where they're at the level that they're at the place that they're at, and build that level of trust. A lot of the young people that we're working with in Greater Manchester, they've been through so many other systems and been told that, they're going to have these opportunities and they're going to get the support, and they haven't. So working with them on that one-to-one bespoke level allows you to build that relationship, and evidence shows that having that relationship with a professional, whether it be a mentor, a youth development officer, social worker, building that level of trust helps that young person, one, to feel safe, two, to then want to access the service, and three, most importantly, participate within that service, be relaxed enough to give it their all. Mentoring is so important. A lot of the young people haven't had access to professionals, whether that be within their household or within their community. So they don't know what it looks like, the world of work to them. Back in my days, during the summer holidays, it was you're going to be with Uncle such and such today at the garage, and we learnt about the garage, or you're going to follow your auntie to work today and all the rest of it. You got a sense of what work was about and what it does for you. A lot of the young people that we're working with, wherever they are in the country, they've not had a lot of access to that. So that intervention for mentors is really important. And then following the evidence as well, building their confidence via many of the programs that Hannah said, allowing them to be able to access different opportunities, whether it is creative or a career pathway. It is allowing them to explore who they are, what their strengths are, what things they don't like. One of the workshops that I've personally been delivering is around effective communication, and it is allowing them to pitch who they are right now, what they aspire to be, and what benefits that they can bring to an employer. Allowing them to explore that, you literally see the confidence build in them, because they start to realise, actually, I have a voice, I'm being heard, and there's something that I can contribute. So yeah, definitely. And the final point I'd like to say that's really important is the peer-to-peer mentoring. A lot of the young people don't have peer-to-peer relationships. A lot of it is via technology, via social media. Getting a group of young people that are all on the same level in a room, speaking to one another, sharing their stories, sharing their aspirations, and knowing that the programs will continue, or the access to the programs will continue, it allows them to build friendships and networking relationships, which then increases their confidence that they're not alone.
Yeah, I love that point. That's so, so important, that kind of sense of community. I mean, it feels like we've lost quite a lot of the statutory services in this space over the last kind of 15 years. Places like Connections, youth centres, although there are some areas that are managing to keep them going. And it often falls to that kind of mentoring relationship from the sports coach, the extended family member, the scout leader to kind of intervene and support. And so, but they can often be the kind of pivotal roles to try and help young people to get back on track. I wanted to just take it down to the kind of level of individual young people, and obviously anonymised, but I wondered if I could just ask you to tell me like a little anecdote or a little insight into one or two of the young people that you've helped and how you've helped them to get kind of back on track. Nicola, I know you've got probably loads of these up your sleeve. Who would you kind of tell us about?
Okay, so we ran a program, Pathways into Digital, and we had one young female that attended that session. At the end of the session, she was overwhelmed with the fact that she didn't realise that, one, this kind of programme kind of existed, but two, the things that she was hearing around what employers are looking for and having the access to employers. The panel Q&A sessions allowed her to be able to ask in real time and get answers as to what do I need to be doing, to get an interview, because I'm not getting any interviews. The main thing about this young person was she had come from a family of 3 to 4 generations of unemployment. She was a single mum as well. And for her, it was a natural course for her to decide to stay in the benefit system. She struggled because she didn't have the support and she didn't have the knowledge of what was available out there and what works looked like. The pathway allowed her a safe space to explore. It allowed her professionals to talk to. It allowed her to have modules around goal setting, self-efficacy, looking at well-being, timekeeping, all the skills that allow a young person to be able to be bold enough to say, actually, I'd like to try that over there. Following that pathway, she received mentoring via 1 Million Mentors. And that young lady then developed a confidence that kind of shocked herself. She accessed all the services, followed up on her individual learning plan, any kind of bumps in the road. And that's another thing with young people. Despite them gaining confidence through the pathways, despite them having information, we know that the journey is not linear. It is backwards and forwards because there is other environmental factors that then have to change their trajectory or even stop them from progressing their path. But having that plan in place allows them to know where to get back on kind of the treadmill kind of thing and progress. And that's what happened with her. Things were not straight, but that plan and that level of trust allowed her to be able to, when the time was right, get back on track. Coming to the end, basically, she accessed all the services, she communicated, and then she ended up being an advocate for the programme for other young people. She did some podcasts, some radio interviews, and then ended up being employed via her landlord, her housing association, on a career pathway. And she's never looked back.
Love that. Thank you so much, Nicolette. Yeah, and you could see all the ingredients that you and Hannah were talking about there, the mentoring, the one-to-one support. I like your point about the bumps in the road. Let's not kid ourselves. There will be challenging times. It's not, it's not kind of, you just don't just pop them onto the pathway and they go for it.
Yeah.
There'll be a need to kind of help them up as well. Hannah, I'd love to hear a kind of reflection from you about one or two of the young people you work with.
Yeah, I mean, really similar to Nicolette, actually. I mean, hearing you speak there, it's a really similar journey. So we used to run the NCS program, so the National Citizen Service. So we had 400 or 500 young people on that every summer. They'd go off and do a residential, and they'd have the independence. They'd start to learn skills being away from home. They'd make new friends. It would get them kind of ready for their next steps. So we had a participant who was on our NCS program. They then, after the NCS program, joined another program called Changemakers. So our Changemakers is young people that want to stay connected to the work at Brentford but want to make change in the community. So they were, really enjoyed the social action part of the NCS program. They liked having their voices heard. They liked solving local problems, and they continue to be part of this youth group called Changemakers. This young person then joined the youth voice group. So she had a strong voice, good views, was not afraid to voice them. And I definitely think that's testament to my team coaching and my team supporting and giving this young person a platform and a safe space to have their voice heard, so that they knew that it was worthwhile, it was adding something. She then went on to do a leadership program with us. So again, layering on additional skills. So you might be able to communicate your views, but how do you bring others with you? How do you look out for other people? What are the great traits of leaders? She then went to university, which the team supported her with an application, and she's at university, but she's also a casual member of our staff. And one of our key models is, how do we take participants to staff members? How do we get young people that are coming through the door to engage with the programme, all the way through to them working for us and being those advocates for the young people that they once were? So again, similar to Nicolette, kind of that journey where each step there's something that works for that young person. And I'm sure my team could give you so many examples, but that's one that particularly stands out for me as a great member of staff now who kind of works for us in the holidays, provides additional support for our camps, is a great role model for young people, and is still close to the age of the young people, but has learned how to take on that boleadership role, to step away from being the young person and take on charge in some of those spaces.
I love that, and I think what both of your examples show is that these stories happen over months and years. This is not like a 2-week intervention and then it's done. This is a trusted adult or a group of trusted adults sticking with a young person as their story develops over a period of time. And I think that's so powerful. Just what you said about the NCS program, National Citizen Service, Hannah, as well, which has obviously gone by the wayside now. And again, that's a great example of like one of these services that was really doing a lot behind the scenes to build young people's confidence and has now kind of gone. So as we come to the end of our time together, I just wanted to ask a bit about those kind of changes at the policy level. So if I gave you a magic wand, what couple of things do you think would help to change things, help to make your lives easier on the ground as you help these young people? Hannah, have you got anything that you'd like to change?
Yeah, I think longer term funding, we are delighted when we receive funding to work on programmes that support young people to develop the skills or get into work. But these things take time. I mean, both mine and Nicolette's examples, I think, really showcased that actually if you want to make change and you want to create opportunities, especially with young people with the most barriers, which are no fault of their own, but that takes time. All of these different layers and all these different people, it's a long-term process. So I think longer-term funding with a real understanding of how long, these things take and how much support is needed to really get to the end result, I think would be something that I would be really keen for. And another one is probably partnership working with employers. So in a previous role, Ollie, as you know, I worked at a school where we had fantastic partnerships with employers, one of them being Edge, actually. Our students went into workplaces and completed a work placement for a long period of time. But the idea was that it was meaningful. They were given tasks, they were given responsibility, and they actually learned what it was like to be in the world of work. But that took a lot of work to get all those partners on board, to take the young people and to host these work placements. So perhaps some sort of expectation on big businesses or employers or even local businesses, small businesses actually, to play a part in supporting young people and providing training, insight days, work experience, some sort of mandate would be great.
Nicolette, what would you use your magic wand for?
Exactly what Hannah said. And the reason being is because within the previous youth employment charity that I worked at, that's what we did. That's what we tried and tested. That's what we explored to depth, especially working with employers who really, really do want to get involved. But there's complexities. Even though the young people are great, they're energised, they are keen and able to be upskilled, but it does take time and effort. And again, that funding, yeah, you're right, you get excited when you get awarded funding. It's amazing. But if we can create a framework that allows the employers to engage from the offset and the programme level, so we have a key part to play in helping employers want to partner with us because it's streamlined, it's not a bolt on, it's not extra effort. We want it to be an integral part of their culture.
This has been such a fascinating conversation. Thank you both so much. I think you've reinforced a lot of the kind of key points here. The group of young people who are not in education, employment or training is hugely diverse. The kind of barriers they face are very different between young people, care experience, challenge with the benefit system, careers guidance. It does make it a complex issue, but at the same time, we do know the ingredients that work. Unfortunately, they can be quite expensive because it's about mentoring, it's about the one-to-one support, it's about bespoke support, it's about doing that over an amount of time. But we know that when that happens, it really works, and those young people can, as you say, find their voice, be incredibly passionate about what they want to do. So Nicolette, Hannah, huge thanks for your time, and really looking forward to seeing how things pan out in Manchester and Brentford over the next kind of couple of years.
This podcast was produced by the Edge Foundation.